Today I'm going to show you how you can take one dough and make 3 different items out of it. I mixed all of this dough together in my mixer yesterday, gave it some folds, and then when it was ready for a portion of it to go into the fridge, I weighed it out. So right here we have what we're going to turn into our ciabatta. This is going to be turned into baguettes. And here we have what's going to be a classic hearth or country loaf. The only difference is that I'm going to put this back in the fridge and I'm going to let them have some more time at room temperature. I actually left this dough out of the fridge for longer yesterday before I shaped it and put these 2 doughs in the fridge earlier because I knew that these 2 doughs would have more time at room temperature today. So we're going to pop our country loaf dough back into the fridge and I'm going to show you how we're going to do the other 2 doughs. Anytime you're going to shape or handle the dough quite a bit after cold proofing or close to when you're going to bake it, you want to give it enough time for it to relax so that all those beautiful CO2 bubbles, the fermentation, can open back up before you bake it. If you shape a cold dough and immediately go to bake it, it's not really going to turn out good for you. You're going to have a lot of dense spots. That's not fun. All right. We're going to weigh out each baguette to 350 grams. That is the traditional amount that you weigh out baguettes to. And we're going to give them a really simple pre-shape. I am very into pre-shaping my baguettes into cylinders. And I never eyeball the right amount. So don't worry if you're not good at that. We're going to 350. And I'm trying to not have like 100 different tiny pieces of dough here, but it's okay if you do. We can manage that. All right, so we're doing 4 baguettes. Once you have them all roughly the same size, what you want to do is very gently form them into a cylinder, sort of like if you are making a long batard sourdough loaf. And there you go. You want it to be nice, you want it to be uniform, but you really don't want to touch the dough too much. You want it to be a simple pre-shape. And also make sure to make it as even as possible. If you are starting a pre-shape with a lumpy dough that's uneven, it's going to be really hard to get an even end product. So see how I have all these little weird spots here? I'm going to do my best to just fold them in nicely and use my palms to feel where there's more or less dough and even it out. Fold it in on itself. Be gentle. All right, and I'm actually going to use the same fermentation proofing vessel that I used before and stick my baguettes in here, because not only is it one less dish to clean up, but it also has a lid. It's already slightly oiled. We're going to leave these for 1 hour, and then we're going to shape them. All right, let's make some ciabatta. This dough is super nice and fluffy. I want to be able to move this dough around after I dump it onto the counter, so I'm going to generously flour it so that it doesn't stick to my countertop and ruin the beautiful shape and the interior crumb that I've just developed. This is just all-purpose flour. And the dough is not super high hydration. It's not slack. You can see it's bouncy. So I don't need to go crazy on the flour. And gently spread it out so it's not so thick. A slightly thinner ciabatta, and make it into as even of a shape as possible so that each of your ciabattas are going to be equally sized. I'm going to take a thick cotton or linen cloth called a couche, and I'm going to use this to proof my ciabattas. Just a little more flour on top. And down the middle, just kind of show the line I'm going to take. Try to get it as even as possible, which I admit is not my strong suit. close enough. Whole wheat flour and dust my couche because I like how it adds just a little bit of texture, adds a little bit of, not a lot of flavor, but a little bit. And then as you cut, you want to kind of separate it out. It's not a crazy hydrated dough that I made, so it'll be all right. It's not just going to rush together again. Here's how they look. I'm just going to place them here. I'm giving them a little bit of space so that as they proof, they're not running into each other. You can use your bench scraper to pick it up if it's starting to stick a little. And I don't really mind the rustic look of the curved edge, but you can really take this opportunity to squish it, shape it a little bit. Just make sure you're gentle so you're not creating dense spots in your final ciabatta. There's our big guy. If I was making these for customers, maybe I would weigh them out, be a little bit more careful. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to create like a separation between them. It also supports the dough so it doesn't, like kind of start to spread out or fall apart. I'm going to cover them so they don't start to form a crust. And then I'm going to take this last little piece of the couche and I'm going to make sure that it's supporting this edge of the ciabatta there. There we go. We're going to leave these for about an hour and then we're going to bake them up. All right, it's been about an hour and we're going to go ahead and shape our baguettes. You can see that they've gotten even a little bigger. And I'm going to go ahead and dust the top and just tip them out. And then just gently separate them. Okay. You want to make sure and set yourself up for success by having a little dusting flour ready, a little flour on your hand, and getting the excess off. If you see like right here, it's thinner and here it's thicker, you're going to want to do your best to even that out. Fold in the top third. So like here, I might go a little less. And then we'll do the bottom third. And then we're going to take thumb, palm, thumb, palm, thumb, palm, thumb, palm. And here's where you want to take your dusting flour. Roll it in there. And I can see that this is much thinner than this side. So I'm going to try to thin out that side more. Firm, but not intense pressure on them. And we're looking for approximately 18 inches here. Now we're going to place them seam side up in a thick linen or cotton couche. Let them rest for another hour and then we'll bake them off. All right, it's been an hour. We're going to go ahead and transfer our ciabatta over to our parchment paper. All right, what I like to do is I like to flip them so you can see the beauty of the floured side. You can very slightly stretch them if you want to. And in my oven, I'm just going to put 4 on each tray. I have 2 trays of them. I like having a little bit of the rustic feel. They're not all the same size, but kind of like that. You can see how they're jiggly. That is a sign of a well-fermented dough. All right, so now that our baguettes have been resting for an hour, we're going to go ahead and transfer them to our parchment paper and load them into the oven.
So this is when my mic gave out on me, but here's the same dough, only we shaped it into petards the night before and stuck it in the fridge. I'm going to go ahead and score them and bake them in my oven. So here it is, 1 dough, 3 breads. We have a classic hearth loaf, country loaf if you want to call it. I shaped this before the cold proof. We've got some beautiful ciabattas. And we've got baguettes. Should we take a look at the crumb? Ooh, so soft. These are like, I wish you could feel it. They're so soft. Pretty happy with that. I already cut into it. Pretty beautiful. So I'd say, the ciabatta doesn't have what you would call an open crumb, but it's really soft. All 3 of these breads are beautiful. Mix 1 dough, make 3 different breads that can serve different needs. You can use them in different ways, different functions. I hope you try it.